Do you want to start a business, get out of the office, achieve happiness and success while crushing life? This is Boss to Boss, the place to be for that extra motivation to get up and follow your dreams while learning from the ones who have already done it. And now for your host, Miro Wieslow.
And welcome to Boss to Boss, your one-stop shop for all the techniques and processes to finally make the leap and become your own boss. Our guest today, very excited to have him on. His name is Jason Howland. Jason is originally from Michigan. He's led a life full of fights, getting suspended, joining the wrong crowds, doing drugs, going to jail, until he finally hit a breaking point, which was eventually encompassed on Craigslist by an ad that read, "Positive sales rep needed." Little did he know, next thing he would make over $2,000 in his first week. He'd become manager in 6 weeks and eventually lead the sales meetings. Now Jason is taking companies from under $1 million to over $5 million through his own company by teaching them how to replicate their sales system. Jason, glad to have you on board. How you doing?
Hey, man, best day of my life. Thanks for having me, man. I'm really excited to talk with you.
I was really excited for this one. Not that I'm not normally, but I know your energy, and I know what you bring to the table. So
right on, man. I appreciate that.
All right. So you want to tell our listeners a little bit more of what you do right now? I know you run Jason Howland Corporation. You want to tell them what it is, maybe something that people wouldn't know about you?
Yeah. Jason Howland Corporation is the culmination of all my years in sales. I've learned that over the years I was working for other companies, helping them grow, and I'm making chump change for helping these guys get to millions of dollars in revenue. And so it just was the natural next step for me to go, hey, I'm gonna do this for myself, and instead of working with one company as an employee, I'm going to take contracts and I'm going to help these companies grow. And what it's turned into is the ability to take the owner of a company, because 70% of American businesses basically have one employee, and that's the owner. So that owner can sell his product or her product because they're passionate about it, because they understand the ins and outs of it, and they know all the points that they need to hit. The problem that they get, though, is when they try to get to scale, they hire a salesperson. They don't have enough time to train them before they run out of money trying to get trained, and the salespeople just aren't successful. The reason for that is because all the sales knowledge is in their head. So what I do is I pull that DNA out of the owner, and I turn it into a replicable sales system that they can teach to 5, 10, 15, 20 people and recreate themselves. I call it U multiplied. Recreate themselves and put themselves out there 5, 10, and 15 times so that they can scale their company.
All right. That's a great way to put it. So I want to tell the listeners a little bit, I didn't even know you until just a few months ago, and it just speaks for the power of social media. And, we both kind of started following each other, and, you definitely have a presence, I would say, on social media. If anybody wants to follow, what's your tag? At Jason Howland?
Yeah, at Jason Howland, anywhere you look. Or you can type in #ActionCloser in any search bar and you'll find it.
Yeah, you'll definitely find him, and you'll enjoy his videos, his motivational videos, his daily talks videos. Definitely, that's for sure. And then, I ran into you at the 10X GrowthCon, and you're the same in person as you are online. So,
well, I appreciate that.
Sometimes you run into people and they're like, you're like, oh man, you're nothing like I thought you were, but you're the same genuine, full of energy guy that I thought.
Yeah, that makes me think of one of the sayings we have is get weird. Like the weirdness, the thing that people make fun of you for, is the thing that makes you rich. Like the thing that you're embarrassed about, as soon as you step out of your comfort zone and start embracing that one weird thing, like me, like you said, I have energy, I have presence. I'm a spaz is what I am. Like in school and stuff, everybody made fun of me because I was like the spastic kid who couldn't sit still, was tipping his desk over and jumping on the counter. But that pays me now because it gets people's attention. And now that I've embraced that get weird mentality, it's made a huge difference in my life.
Yeah, right. Definitely got out of your comfort zone and resurfaced that energy into something a lot more meaningful and that you actually care about now. Yeah, so let's jump into it. Let's tell the listeners. Wow, when did you realize enough was enough and it was time to leave your last? It was a sales job, I take it. Your 9 to 5.
I was actually I was running a company. I was the director for a company, and basically the pay was good, but that was the problem. The pay was comfortable. You know what I mean? And like, I never saw myself. Here I am teaching all these salespeople to get uncomfortable and to get out there and work on commission and make this living for themselves that they never dreamed of, which is the reason I like training salespeople, because I watch people going from struggling to pay the bills to buying ponies for their kids on their birthday, because that's what sales does, but the reality is like, I was working at a place and I was there from 6:30 in the morning till 9 o'clock at night, a lot of times, 7 o'clock, 7:30, and I was working for somebody else. And yeah, the money was quote unquote good, I guess, but it wasn't me. And I was just getting to this point where I was, the owners of these companies weren't wanting to go as far as I wanted to go. Like, they would get happy when they hit $3 and $4 and $5 million in revenue. And that's not my end game. My end game is to build a $100 million company 3 or 4 times. And the way to do that is to find real go-getters that want to hire me on a contract basis, that are like putting out some real money, some cash, by the minute, not by the week or by the hour. And they're in it to win it, and interestingly enough, that's the thing. I think that when I don't charge enough money, it's not even, I can make enough money charging half of what I do. But I mean, enough, what's enough? There's never enough. But, I could make a good living charging half of what I do. But the problem is people aren't all in that. When somebody gives you 10 grand down and $1,000 a week for you to teach them something, they're going to work at what they're learning from you. You know what I mean? When somebody's giving you 140, 150 grand a year to do the same thing, it's not as painful, so they don't put in the effort, I think.
Oh, I can attest to that 100%. I was always skeptical of doing things, putting the money into it, but it wasn't until I finally got talked into it and put the money in that I truly found the value that everybody was always talking about and preaching about. And I never saw it until I did put the money in.
I can tell you that is one of the biggest, this happened about 2 years ago. I ran into a salesperson that I was trying to talk into doing this sales program. We brought a sales program in for the company that I was working with. And this guy was like really reluctant to put down, I think it was like $300 a month for this program. I was making the salespeople pay for half so that they'd have some skin in the game and actually get into the program. Well, he was like really hesitant, like, man, I got this bill and I got that bill. And I'm like, dude, as long as you got this bill and that bill, you're never going to be able to pay them. I said, the first time you take that money out of your pocket and it hurts and you put it into yourself, your self-esteem is going to go through the roof. You know what I'm saying? And it did. I talked him into it. I sold him on the idea, and he went out and sold more that next week than he'd ever sold in a week, by like 3 times. So investing in yourself is 100% one of the most important things in life and in business.
So tell me, did you know what you were doing next? Or did you know what you were doing next while you were still at your previous firm? Or did you sort of go into the unknown?
No, it was creeping up on me. And I kind of went into the unknown as in, like, I knew I was going to do something, but I didn't know exactly how it was going to play out. So I took a lot of individual clients and taught them sales. The problem is, with individual clients, there's not enough time in the day. For me to do what I want to do with my business, there's just not enough time. I can't meet with 47 people a day to teach them sales. So then I put together the Action Closer Academy, and I'm going to do another class soon. And that was 12 people in a Zoom meeting from all over the country, and we did a class curriculum. And we went through each one of their individual sales processes and developed their system and got them into a system of the 4 loves, which is one of my teaching points that I give, the 4 loves to a sale. And so We did that, and that was really successful. That got some better closing rates, made some people some money, and that was cool. So that was cool. You can put 12 people in for an hour a week, and that way I can get more people in through the program. But where I'm really headed right now is more of a startup consultancy. So in other words, here comes Bob, the business owner, who can sell his product like hotcakes, but he can't get a sales staff to save his life because he just can't cross that line between selling and teaching to sell and taking his company to the next level by helping him create that system that works for him.
Got it. Any chance you can throw us a little sample of what these 4 loves are?
I'd love to. It's one of my favorite lessons. Okay, so in every sale, doesn't matter what the product is, there's 4 things the customer has to love. It's you, it's your company, it's your guarantee or claim, whatever you're guaranteeing or claiming to the customer, and it's your product. They love those 4 things and the price won't matter. Okay? So for instance, if a customer loves me, and this is, I'll give you a little bit of a tidbit on the love thing too. If a customer loves me in the sense that they're going to invite me to their family barbecue and try to set me up with their daughter, that's not the kind of love you want. That's the friend zone. And how easy is it for you to tell your best friend no? It's a lot easier than a trained professional that you love in the industry, right? So love you is kind of like they wouldn't want to buy cars from anybody but Phil, the car salesman. They just couldn't imagine it. They love Phil. He's their car salesman, right? Love the company is probably the most important part. It has more to do with it than the product. It has more to do with it than anything. If they love the company and you, they're rooting for you before you even get into your product, right? So that's the order also. You introduce yourself with a bang. You come off with a huge smile and a good handshake, and you start right out like, I love this guy. This guy's awesome. A couple laughs here and there. And then you move into your company first. So you tell them all the good things and you get them committed. And at the end of that little company commitment process, so you get little micro commitments like, obviously this feature, let's say if you're, hey, our dealership guarantees you can bring the car back for the next 3 days, take it, go take whatever the thing is that you're doing. And you say, so based on everything I've told you about our company so far, is this the type of company you'd want to do business with? They say, yes, cool. Now you close them out on the company. You move on to the product or the guarantee, whatever your claim is. Now, I guarantee you're going to love this car more than any other car you had, or I won't sell it to you. I promise you that much. And our car comes with a 6-month powertrain warranty. Sounds pretty good, right? Doesn't get any better than that, does it? So knowing that you can get a 6-month powertrain warranty and a guarantee that you're going to love the car before I try to sell it to you, you wouldn't want to go anywhere else, would you?
No, man. I mean, you're selling me right now, and maybe we got to talk a little bit more after the show.
and I don't sell cars either, but that's just an example. Well, I sell anything, but that's not been my business. But it doesn't matter what the product is. Yeah. If you get them committed, and then you go to the product, because what the product does is it backs up everything. It makes everything believable. Right? If I got a great product, they can understand why I can make a great claim or a great guarantee. If I got a great product, they can understand why my company's the best one in the business with the most 5-star reviews online. Or if I got a great product, they could understand why the best salesman they ever met is working for that company. You see what I mean? So the product's what ties it all together. So if the customer loves those 4 things, the customer will always want to buy. They'll be like finding a way to make it affordable, even if it's twice what they wanted to pay.
So you said one thing that I've mentioned to other people I was interviewing and to past interviewees. You talked about being able to sell anything. Is it more just being able to sell a product, or is it deeper? Is it you trying to sell yourself? How do you feel that sales? Like this
is a really interesting. Actually, I'm glad you asked that question because I don't believe in the whole sell yourself, like make them like you thing. Mm-hmm. Like I believe that they will like you if you're worried about their why. If that makes sense. Like, why does my product meet your needs? That's what's important. If I can figure out what it is about my product that solves a problem for you, you're going to want my product. And I don't care about me yet. I'll get paid. I'm not worried about me. If I'm insignificant, if I make you so significant that I come off as insignificant, the old saying, whoever is first is last and whoever's last is first, will come full circle, and you'll be 100% first because you put other people first. You know what I'm saying? So my opinion on that is you want to find out what it is that they're going to sell themselves on your stuff.
Okay. Oh, no, that's a great way to put it. Good twist on things for sure. And you threw in a nice little quote.
Yes, I did.
Classic. Well, all right. Moving on. What mistakes do you think you made along the way that were crucial to your success? I'm sure there had to be one, right?
Oh, dude, I make more mistakes in a day than most people make in a week, but that's just because I'm doing a lot. But the reality is I've made so many mistakes, and I wouldn't give up any of them. I didn't back in the gang days or the drug days and all of that stuff. I didn't know I was learning, but I was learning. One thing about being homeless and not knowing what's going on for tomorrow, where you're going to be or how it's going to be, you learn how to hustle, right? You learn how to have a desperation, but not desperation like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? But like this sense of urgency that just pushes you, right? Mm-hmm. But that never goes away. So like for me, I still have that. Like when I'm in a sales situation, it's urgent. I don't care if I got $1 million sitting behind me in a pile. I'm going to put 300 more there because I've been in that situation where I have to make something happen right now in order to keep going. And I think that's what a business owner does.
Interesting you bring that up. Do you feel that being in that situation changes things now because you can make a different choice than somebody else?
Yeah, I can take a risk and not even sweat it.
Okay, so you would definitely, what I'm getting at, do you feel that people need to make mistakes? Is it something that's required, or could we just listen to somebody like you and hear about your mistakes and then take them and never do them?
Both. The fact is, you've got to be doing enough that you're screwing it up. What people don't realize is you can screw up 100 times in a day and do one thing right and become a millionaire. You know what I mean? But you just got to be doing enough. And so the one thing that I would add to that is be ethical. I never made a dime that stuck with me until I became ethical. Like back in the drug days and that I would make a lot of money on this or that, mm-hmm. but it was always with the worry that the door was going to come crashing in and somebody was going to take it all away, mm-hmm. right? But when you're ethical, you can take a risk, you can take 10 risks, you can do whatever, but when you're ethical, you'll figure it out. You know what I mean? And that's the thing is act. Just take, you guys read my hats, take action today, TAT, act, take action. If you take enough action, you're bound to screw up.
All right. So, got to keep it going and we got to make the mistakes, but eventually we'll make the right ones. That's great, man. Great stuff over there. What tips?
Quick,
yeah, go ahead.
I want to add to that. When you make a mistake, learn from it. Blame yourself. And if you're in sales, this is the number one thing you need to do. When you don't sell, blame yourself. Don't say it was the customer. Don't say it was the lead. Don't say it was the product you were selling. Don't say the price was too high. Don't say anything like that. Blame yourself and figure out what you could do better next time. And you didn't lose a thing. You gained $1 million. You know what I mean?
I feel like sometimes people have a hard time doing that. I had a hard time doing that at a point in my life. Do you have maybe some tips for that? Like, how did you come to that realization that is what you had to do? Blame yourself. You gotta stop caring what people think. That's another thing that I've ever since I was little had to be in the spotlight, right? And so that led me to be quite strange, do whatever I could to be in the spotlight, right? Mm-hmm. But the difference now is that I've learned, years ago when I started, the first sales job I ever had was a long, long time ago, and it was selling cologne on the streets out of a box. And one of the things the guy who taught me how to do it said to me, I could sell if I could get you to listen to me, but I was having trouble getting people to listen to me. So one thing he said to me is, you need to get out of your comfort zone. And he made me go to an elevator
a crowded elevator and stand in it, and every time people got on or off, thank them for coming out and just start a conversation with everybody. And the first time I walked onto the elevator, I was shaking, I was nervous, I was going to do this crazy out of the box thing. And then by the end, I was there for like 3.5 hours. By the end of it, I was loving it. And now I do it almost every time I'm in the elevator. I did it at GrowthCon the whole time I was there. I was like, every time, say, hey, I'd like to thank you guys for coming out. I really appreciate it. And everybody's like, what do you mean? I'm like, hey, I just appreciate the fact that you're here, man. You know, and you get a great response from people when you just don't care at all what other people think of you. And I think that's what you got to do to start blaming yourself, you know, to be able to go, hey, yeah, I screwed up. So what? So did you. Who cares? Let's move on, you know?
Yeah, most things get forgotten unless they're, you know, crazy, life-changing. Most of us will forget. We have too much of our own things to worry about to, you know, think about someone else.
Especially if you take responsibility for your own actions and mistakes. People will give you grace. I got, you know, you get pulled over by a cop and you go, hey, I didn't do anything wrong. He's going to write you 9 tickets. If you go, hey, you know what? I apologize. It's totally my fault. If you want to, just shred my license now, officer. I'm so sorry. You know, they'll usually let you off because you're taking responsibility for your actions.
Right, crazy how that works, huh? You have any tips? Anybody that's waiting there, they're on the edge, they're literally on the edge, and they're debating, should they make that leap, you know, become that boss, leave their current job that they're, you know, it's been their career, the only thing they know. They went to school for this, you know, they were taught that this was the right thing to do. You got any tips for someone trying to do this?
Yeah. Take action today. And the other tip that I have for you is pay attention to people who've done it. You know, there's a lot of people on social media. Jeremy Rubin comes to mind. You know, there's a lot of people on social media that have done that, have taken that leap. And what you'll find is when you take the leap, the ground below is not near as hard as you think it is.
That's a nice quote. I like that a lot, man. Well, now on to our favorite segment.
Welcome to the round with no name because they're all taken.
Hope you're ready, Jason. We stress that all your answers to this round are within 5 seconds. Otherwise, I'm gonna have my producer come down here, and he always warns me. He's like, better make sure it's under 5 seconds or else. But he never tells me what the or else part is. He just tells me I better get this thing done in 5 seconds for each question. So let's just you know, let's try not to
make it happen.
All right, first question. Favorite book?
10X Rule.
Stranded on an island. What is one item that you want with you?
My pen.
That is the most original answer. Wow. What will you be doing with that pen?
Writing. I can't write my goals without a pen.
Love it. Who is or was your greatest mentor?
My greatest mentor was Dale Carnegie.
Is entrepreneurism a fad?
Yes.
Is there a specific thing in your morning ritual or your daily ritual that you do that you think makes you different from everybody else?
Makes me different. I write my goals, I write my purpose, and I write affirmations every day. That makes me different than 90%. That's the best I can do.
Is voice, specifically podcasts, the future?
Yes.
All right. We made it. We made it in time. Nobody came down here. We're still alive. We made it in time, man. Whew.
I was sweating.
You wanna elaborate on any of those questions? Is entrepreneurism a fad? You said yes.
I'd like to elaborate on that. Yes, it is, and no, it'll always be important. But right now, I think it kind of in some aspects, I think we kind of ruin the purity of mentorship and entrepreneurship with this whole rock star fanboy thing that happens with some of the entrepreneurs that are out there. I really think that you poison the water a little bit when it becomes this, you know, all of this anti-stardom thing that all the entrepreneurs talk about, like stop watching TV and start reading books, and then they become TV stars without really a whole lot new to say, and it kind of does poison the well a little bit.
Yeah, there are definitely areas I feel that are becoming repetitive. That's for sure. Another thing you mentioned is voice the future. Are you yourself getting into voice? What are you doing about that?
It's happening. Like, people are inviting me on their podcasts. I know that Lance Madison Smith does an Alexa flash briefing that he takes my material from Bulletproof Friday and makes podcasts out of it. And so, I mean, it's happening. People like it. So I think I'm going to do some of it. I like video a lot too. I think that voice, video, those two things together are the single most important thing in the future of marketing and then the future of sales and teaching.
All right. Well, thanks, Jason. That's all been it's been great. It's been a blast. Is there something you want to share with our listeners about what we could expect next? And where could we find more of you? Where could we find out more about you?
Well, my website is actioncloser.com. You can go there, check me out there. You can check me out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Twitter and Instagram is at Action Closer. It's at Jason Howland on Facebook. But like I said, anywhere you search the hashtag Action Closer, you'll find me. Where am I going next? I'm going in the direction I've been going in. Now I've proven the concept of my company at this point. So I've proven that I can take companies from nothing to millions. So now it's time for me to scale and do exactly what I do for those companies for my company. And look out, anybody who thinks they're on the top, because I'll grab your hand on the way by and pull you up with me.
That is awesome. You heard it all here, folks. Hit up Jason. He's going to take you with him. And you can find him at actioncloser.com. Jason, I want to thank you for taking some time out, being on the show. It's been a pleasure. Definitely another high energy episode, as always, with you.
Awesome, man. I really appreciate having me on. It's been a great time. Great questions.
That is all for this episode of Boss to Boss. Your next step is to visit bosstoboss.com, where you will find proven techniques followed by professionals to help you make that next step. Again, that is boss2boss.com. And remember, the time is now.